Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. My name is Halia. I'm a gold consultant and I-10 card holder. And today we're going to go over how to master the travel consultation. Okay. So we're going to go over a bunch of different things. We're going to go over the goal of the consultation, the flow of the consultation, and how to really set the tone for that consultation in order to ensure that you are not going to be wasting your time with clients that are just looking for, window shopping, basically. So there we go. The goal of a consultation is going to be build rapport and trust before diving into the details of the travel, right? Until the vacation details. You're going to use icebreakers for these. And I have, like I mentioned, I have those icebreaker questions for you. And I'm going to show you guys how to kind of combine the icebreaker questions with whatever type of travel they are doing. Okay. You also want to discover who is traveling, why, and what they value the most. This is going to help you be able to tailor their proposal to them. All right. And gather enough information to create the best proposal without giving away all your expertise on the call. This travel consultation is not to be like, oh, I'm going to send you to X hotel or on Y X cruise line. It's to get that information. You want to let them know, like, oh, I have a specific hotel for you in mind, or I think you'll be a really good fit for this cruise line, whatever the case may be, right? But the goal of this is to position yourself as an expert who listens and curates experiences, okay? You also, during this time, are going to be able to figure out if this person is just window shopping or if they are serious about booking with you. Okay. And we're going to do that by setting the tone. So, the flow of the consultation is going to be setting the tone for what that looks like and your expert skills. Okay. And your services. All right. Then we're going to discover the basics of that person, where they're wanting to go, things like that. Then we're going to start building the dream of what they're envisioning, right? We're going to help them, see the different aspects that they can do. We're going to really build that perfect vacation, that dream perfect vacation, okay? And then we're going to have some destination specific qualifiers. So we're going to have some specific questions based off the type of travel that they're going to be taking. We're going to learn how to talk about the budget the right way. We're not just going to be asking, okay, what's your budget? All right. We're going to be bringing it up in a different way to really help them know what is realistic for what they're wanting and go about it that way. All right. And then we're going to wrap it up. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is set the tone. You can choose whether you want to do consultations over the phone or on Zoom. I will say I have been recently doing them on Zoom and I really, really like them. One, it again is another step to help kind of weed out the people that are window shopping, because if they're window shopping, they're most likely not going to want to get on Zoom with me. Where if it's a phone call, they're probably a little bit more like, okay, whatever. Okay. And also, it makes it more personal, in my opinion. All right. You really get to see each other. You get to see facial expressions. You get to see body language. You get to have a more personal connection and a more personal conversation. And they get to see you taking those notes and being like professional in that way. All right. Now, if you are scheduling your consultations and you're doing them over the phone, make sure you are calling your clients on time. All right. On time. If your appointment is set for 10 a.m., call them at 10 a.m. Okay. If you're on Zoom, I have been liking to show up 5 minutes early, have my camera on. You want to look professional, put together, at least from, the top up, right? Smile, have high energy, and you're going to use those 5 minutes to really start with those icebreaker questions to get to know your potential client a little bit better. So that way you can understand who they are, kind of what their background is, the type of things that they like, and that will help you when creating their proposal. All right. So like I said, we're going to start with our icebreaker questions and allow not only getting to know them, but allow them to get to know you as well. We want to keep the convo going and keep it positive and make sure everyone this is really important, okay? Make sure everyone who is paying or is a major decision maker is present on that consultation. So if, it's a big family trip and you're talking to this one person, let's say the daughter, right? But then the parents are going, the sisters are going, the brothers are going, the kids are going. And let's say the parents are making major decisions, right? The parents need to approve everything before it moves on. The parents need to be on that call, okay? This is going to help you understand what the real goal is behind this trip what they truly want this trip to be and all of the things. It's also going to alleviate a lot of back and forth conversation if you're speaking to one person, but then other people are making the decisions. It goes back and forth, and there's a lot of miscommunication, a lot of confusion, things like that. I will say I know this from personal experience for one of the groups that I've booked previously. It was a big family trip to Thailand, and I was speaking to one person who then I ended up speaking to every single person anyways. So it would have just been easier for me to get everybody on the first call initially to get everybody's opinions, get everybody's must-haves, things like that. Okay. So just see if you can do that first. If they're not available, then you can like work around it, all right? Then we want to start discovering the basics, okay? Oh, I see a question. Uh, only 3 to 4 people. Exactly. So that's why it's important because it causes so much more stress, so much more confusion, so much more miscommunication and more work on your end when there doesn't need to be, right? If it's 3 to 4 people and they're all making decisions, I'm like, you guys all need to be on this call. If you guys cannot be on this call during those times, I will let them tell me a few times that they're available and I'll see if I'm flexible to be able to accommodate that. Okay. So who is traveling? You want to know that. You want to get everyone's full legal names and birthdays. You want to get their travel dates, all right? When they want to travel, are they flexible dates or are they set dates? Why they want to travel? Are they celebrating anything special? Is it just for fun? Is it to get away? Like, what is the reason they're wanting to go? Do they have any special needs or considerations, dietary restrictions, special accommodations, anything like that? Okay. Those are the types of basics that you want to start uncovering. And again, I'm going to show you guys the different inquiry forms that I've created for you guys that are a little bit more detailed, but these are like the main basics that we need, right? We then want to start building the dream. Okay, so we're going to paint the picture of that perfect vacation by asking about favorite past vacations, their travel style, any must-haves. Okay, so if they're talking about a favorite past vacation where they did, an all-inclusive resort and they had a beautiful ocean view and they did XYZ excursions and they really liked to be relaxed, but then have activities too, and they really want to have, a certain type of restaurant, have them be as detailed as possible when they're describing that, because what that's going to help you do is then start building that dream for this upcoming vacation, right? How can we make it better, right? It's also going to allow you to upsell some opportunities of upselling things too, to really help them create that perfect vacation, all right? You want to encourage them to describe their ideal experience without worrying about budget yet, all right? And this is going to help again. Once you have that dream, then we can come in and provide that education on, all right, based off of, you're wanting to do a premium level room with an oceanfront suite or a swim up pool and, a 5-star hotel, right? Like you're painting that picture. This is the average cost of that type of trip. Okay. That's kind of how we're going to go about it. You're going to guide them through the destination options using prompts from the guides. Okay. This is what I'm going to, the inquiry forms that I'm going to give you. Okay. There's different questions, mostly for like, if they don't know where they're going, mostly for like all inclusives, there's like country questions on there, different types of beach questions on the cruise one. There's different types of questions about like what types of cruise lines they're looking for. Like, are they looking for like adults only, family friendly? What are they looking like? What's the vibe that they're looking for? Right. And I'll show you guys the breakdowns of those. Okay, so this is where we're going to start talking about that dream vacation and beginning that picture painting for them. We then are going to start getting into destination specific qualifiers. So based off of any information you already know about them going up to this, typically when, people reach out, they're like, oh, I want to go, like they try to give you all that information right off the bat, right? They'll be like, oh, I want to go to Mexico for this many days and this times, and I want to spend this much money, right? I don't answer any of those questions in the DMs, right? But that helps me know at least where they're wanting to go. If they don't say that right away when they're messaging me and they're like, oh, I want to go on a trip, I'll say, okay, great. Do you know where you want to go? I just kind of want to get that information first. If they're like, I have no idea, but I know that I want all inclusive or whatever the case may be, right? That's going to help me be prepared for our consultation. Okay. Then I'll schedule them for the consultation. All right. So I want to get at least the potential destination or type of travel first before I schedule for the consultation so I can be prepared for that. All right. Some different things for all inclusives that we're going to ask is family versus adults only, resort size, activities, food preferences, airport distance. For Europe, we want to know geography, transportation, must-see attractions, the pace that they're wanting to go, the vibe that they're wanting, and realistic itinerary planning. So what that's going to look like. And again, this is all more detailed in those inquiry forms, okay? Cruises, we want to know their cruise line preference, stateroom type, the itinerary they're wanting to see, the vibe on board they're wanting. Okay, Disney, we want to know what parks they're wanting to go to, if it's Disney World, Disneyland. I forgot to update that. The resorts they're wanting to stay at, lightning lanes if they're wanting, dining, any dining packages depending on, where they're going, right? Any special events they want to attend, any must-do attractions they want. And then Hawaii, we want to know which islands they want to go to, the pace that they want to go at, any activities they want to see, any resort amenities they want, and to be aware of, the culture and the land and things like that. Okay. So this is where we're going to start getting into the budget. Once we have all of that information, that's when we start moving into the budget. Okay. Like I mentioned, we're not just saying, okay, what is your budget, right? We're not doing that. Instead, we're going to recap all of the information that we've just gotten from them. We're going to paint that picture again that they said was their ideal experience, okay? And then we're going to explain the average cost of what they've described. All right, this is going to show you guys this is going to show them the value and positions you as an expert for this travel. Okay. Now, if you don't know the average cost range of what they've described, again, you have that at least the destination in mind, right? Before, so you can do a little bit of Googling when you are preparing for this consultation, right? You could literally just Google, okay? Let's say you are you don't even before, like, you don't kind of know what they're wanting to do. Once you have that information, you can again pull up Google real quick and type in like 5-star all-inclusive luxury swim up pool 7 days average cost trip for family of whatever, and Google will help you get an answer so you can then say that. Okay, we're not again giving them like, or we're not asking them straight up what is their budget. We're letting them know, okay, based off of what you are looking for, what we've been talking about, this is the average cost of that. They will let you know if that is not something that they are able to do. And then you can adjust and see, okay, so what are you flexible on compromising on? Or we can either, change some aspects of the trip, or we can be flexible on the budget. Which one would you prefer? Okay. And then we can work around with that. All right. And they also will probably let you know, oh, well, I wasn't expecting to pay more than X amount. Okay. That'll start that conversation without feeling too like salesy or too pushy on, well, you need to spend this much money with me, right? It's more, okay, well, if this is what you're wanting, this is what you can expect. Okay. It's more educational. Then we're going to wrap it up. Okay. We're going to recap all of that all over again. Okay. What their main takeaways, all right, the budget expectations. Tell them you're going to take what you've gathered during this consultation and create a tailored proposal for them. All right. You want to reassure them that you have a couple of perfect ideas in mind without naming properties yet, even if you don't. Okay. Let them know that you do. And schedule a follow-up call with your client to go over the proposal. All right. You're going to schedule that while you're on the consultation call. You want to keep this, I would say, at most 7 business days, within the 7 business days. All right. I typically like to do 48 to 72 hours, depending on the type of trip I'm doing. Now, if you're doing like an FIT Europe trip or FIT Hawaii trip, those are probably going to take you a little bit longer to put together all of that information, right? But if you're doing like a cruise or an all-inclusive and then you're just throwing some excursions, those might take you not as long, right? So you want to kind of see what type of trip you're doing and how long you think it will take you, and give them the timeline. But I would say within the next 7 business days for sure. All right. Before we go into the inquiry forms, do you guys have any questions? Chat.
No, good. Thank you.
Okay. Let's open up those inquiry forms then. Oh my goodness. Hello, Bernardo. Okay, so I have them. If you guys already have those travel booking resources under the travel documents, there. Oh, that's Merida. Hi, Mare. Sorry, my dog is going a little crazy. It's going to be under travel bookings and qualify your clients. I'm also going to be sharing this whole folder with you guys, okay? You can see that I have the icebreaker questions. I have the Hawaii FIT questions, Europe FIT questions, Disney questions, cruise questions, and all-inclusive questions, okay? I'm going to start with icebreakers, and then I'm going to kind of show you a little bit of like probably Europe and all-inclusive, okay? Or actually, I'll do all-inclusive and cruises. The rest of these, you guys can, go through them on your own, and I'm going to show you how to use them, okay? So this is going to give you a little bit of information before you continue. All right. With these, you know how our travel knowledge ones, like the ones that we give you, are, kind of set up for you to just plug in answers. These are not set up this way, okay? Because each consultation is going to be different. And in order to properly qualify your clients, you need to tailor it to that person, okay? And what they're looking for. So what I have created instead is a list of different questions for different types of travel, as well as the icebreaker questions. And what you guys can do, and this is what I have been doing as well, is in my Google Drive or however you guys want to set up, your notes for your consultations, I will go through here before my consultation and I will pick 3 to 4 connection questions based off of a little bit what I know about them already, whether it's through communication, whether it's just through me kind of stalking their Facebook or their Instagram or whatever the case may be, right? I'll pick 3 to 4 connection questions, and then I'll pick 3 to 5 travel type questions. So we have our connection questions. You also can see the different travel types right over here with the different headings. So you don't have to scroll through. If it's a family vacation, you can go direct there. Group trip, you can go there. Honeymoon, anniversary, birthday, couples getaway. Okay. So I have different questions for each type of trip. And you can pick 3 to 5 from there. All right. These are what you're going to start off with in your consultation. Okay. 3 to 5 of these and 3 to 4 of the connection ones. I always, 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 always ask, have you, I hate this word. I don't know why I will. Have you worked with a travel advisor before, or is this your first time? Always, 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 always ask this. All right. And if you don't ask this during the icebreaker, I put it in every single other qualification list of questions as well. All right. So I always ask have you ever worked with a travel advisor before, or is this your first time? If they say, no, I haven't, I say, okay, great. Well, I'm excited to work with you, blah, 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 blah. And we continue going, right? If they say, yes, they have, I then want to know a little bit more information about that experience. I'll ask them, tell me a little bit about your experience. What was your favorite part? What parts did you wish were a little bit different and why, right? I want to know why. Okay. I want to know what happened. I want to know what made them want to not go back to that travel agent and things like that. Okay. I also want to know how I can improve their experience and what they would expect of me. Okay. And I can tell them what I would expect of them and my services that I provide and how that works. Okay. So we can have a little bit of that conversation as well. But like I said, you have a list of connecting questions, a list of different travel type questions. Choose the ones that make the most sense based off of the information you already know. Okay. You'll also see while you're doing this icebreaker, the conversation will kind of flow, right? You'll start asking questions. Maybe you won't even answer some questions that you put on there, but you'll start having that conversation and it'll flow in a little bit different way, but you'll still find some information about them. That's totally okay, right? This isn't like you need to ask XYZ and you need to get XYZ answers. No, it's just to help get that conversation flowing. All right. So what I would do is like, I'm not going to do it right here, but I would take like a new Google document. I have a different part of my Google Drive that I'll show you guys in a second where it's client info. I would open up like the icebreaker questions and whatever type of travel type question it is. So let's say we're going to do all inclusive. Okay. And then I would go to, like I said, my drive. I have a folder in here called client info. And then I have folders for my different clients. All right. So I would take a new folder and I put their first name and their last initial. But for this one, I'm just going to put client A, right? Then I'm going to create that. It's going to open up right here. I'm going to open up the file and then or the folder. Then I'm going to create a Google Doc. And I like to title the document based off of what trip they are going on. So let's say they're doing a Europe trip. I'll put Europe 2025 consultation. And then I'll have that's what that title will be. Then I'll go down a little bit. I'll put heading and I'll put icebreaker questions. And I'll literally go to the icebreaker questions. I'll copy these, which ones I want, right? Which ones I like. I really like to ask how they spend their free time. I found that really helps me understand what type of excursions and activities they would like. I like to know what a day in their life is like. Again, I can know like, okay, is this going to be more of like a relaxation trip? Is this going to be a go, go, go trip? What is this going to be? Right? What initially made you decide to book? That's one I really like to ask too. Like, I'm just going to ask a couple questions here, right? And do you enjoy, I like these two as well, right? So I'll add a couple of those, right? Then I'll go in and I'll add, let's say it's like a family vacation, right? You can see this, who usually takes the lead is both, okay? So then, oh wait, I forgot my favorite. So we're gonna go and add there. So this is how I set up my consultation notes, right? I'll set up these questions ahead of time and I'll just add this stuff, right? Like let's say I want to add in this information. Like I'll just keep adding it. Okay. Then I'll go to the all-inclusive one and I'll just go here and I'll start typing in like qualifying questions. And I'll start adding those. Okay. Did you say 2 to 3? 3 to 4 connection. It's on the document, so you can always reference this. But 3 to 4 connection questions and 3 to 5 travel type questions for icebreakers. Um, okay. So then I go into the all-inclusive qualifying questionnaire, right? Or the Europe one or whatever the case may be. I'll go into the travel type, okay? And then I'll start adding questions from there. I have in each travel type one some information that you should read through and you should know before your consultation, before I even dive into the qualifying tips or questions, okay? So I literally will have information of what you need to know and different tips before I even dive into those must ask questions. And you can see I have different things here going on too. So the must ask questions, qualifying the vacation, country details, resort details, beach details, room suite type preferences, questions to ask about the room suite type preferences, right? Because I have information here to read before you start putting the questions on there, and then how to wrap it up. Okay. Feel free to copy all of those questions and edit them based off of that specific travel. All right. I'm going to actually delete that. I don't need that. And then same thing with, hello, there we go. Same thing with Europe cruise, all of things. Okay. So you'll see I have information on the cruise, like the different cruise things, what you need to know, key details you should research. Oh, whoops. Cruise qualifying tips. Okay. The must ask questions, qualifying the vacation, and then how to wrap it up. Same thing for Disney. A little bit of information, what you need to know, how to stay in the know. Okay. Disney qualifying rules. Disney's a little bit different. So Disney's going to be a little bit more, there's a lot going on there. All right. And then different questions. Okay. a little bit of information before we get into the must ask questions, qualifying Disney parks, attractions, dining, upsell opportunities. I have upsell opportunities in here as well, resort qualifying, and then wrap it up. All right. Europe and Hawaii are going to be a little bit more intense, I'm going to say is the word, especially Europe, because there's so much there and a lot of people don't understand that. So you can see just in these tabs how much information is here. Okay. So we have the qualifying questionnaire. This is information on how to be like a master qualifier, what some of the stuff you should at least be familiar with, at least understand that is a thing before you get on a Europe consultation. And this might require some research before your consultation. Okay. Then I go into what you need to know, the different things, transportation law, logistics, accommodation norms, must see top attractions and sites, budget averages based on the time of year, because again, we want to know, like, paint that picture and give that average budget, right? Flight information, cultural customs and tourist etiquette. And then I go into qualifying tips. Okay, so I give you some information on that. Then must ask questions, same as before, destinations, itinerary discussion, which should happen in the beginning of the call. So if you need to rearrange some of these questions, you can. I would definitely probably put it, actually, the way that it's set up is probably good. Must ask questions first, right? Destination, you want to know where they're wanting to go. And then you want to kind of dive into the different itinerary, activities, flights, the client's vibe. I don't like that. That's like that. I don't like that at all. Okay, there we go. The client's vibe, there we go. Accommodations, transportation, upsell opportunities, more into itinerary planning, how you're going to talk them through that and educate them on what that would look like, right? And then wrapping it up again. Same thing with Hawaii, okay? A little bit of information, what you need to know. Where are my little tabs? There we go. What you need to know about traveling to Hawaii. All right, all that information. Then we go into those questions. All right, must ask questions, the different islands, okay, itinerary discussion. If they want to island hop, do they want to just stay on one island? What are they wanting to do, right? Activities, flights, again, the client's vibe, accommodations, transportation, upsell opportunities. All right, then we're going to go into the itinerary planning again, just like with Europe, and we're going to wrap it up. All right, so these are going to help you guys understand what that looks like for your consultations. I encourage you guys to research, right? Go through these questions and go through these questionnaires and look at the notes in there and research a little bit about the destinations if you don't know about them, okay? Or if you're not familiar with them before your consultation. This way, when you are on that consultation, you not only have those questions that you know you need to ask, but you have a little bit of knowledge to back yourself up with it, all right? It is okay if you don't know something to say, you know what, let me actually double check that and I'll get back to you. It's okay to do that. That actually shows the client that you are not going to give them just false information just to seem like you're knowledgeable, right? You want to double check the information and make sure you're giving them factual info. All right. Do you guys, I know that was a lot, but do you guys have any questions?
I do, Julia. I guess my question is, with this, you typically do it in one sitting, or do you need to do this over like multiple meetings or multiple
One sitting.
Zooms? One sitting? Okay.
It typically takes me about 30 to 45 minutes. Um, depending on, how that conversation is flowing, because part of when like we're asking them to describe their experience, it's going to answer a bunch of those questions anyways. So then I can just go and type in those answers. And if I need a little bit more detail, I'll go in and I'll follow up with that.
Okay, and with us building our own consultation questionnaires with this one, so I know with the last one, like it had like separate land, cruise, all
Mhm.
of those different ones. So what you just showed us is everything that
Yeah,
we would need
so
to
in
introduce.
that Google Drive, it has a list of questions for all-inclusive travel, a list of questions for cruise travel, a list of questions for Disney travel, a list of questions for Europe travel, and a list of questions for Hawaii travel, as well as those icebreaker questions. So what you're going to do when you are preparing for your consultation is you're going to create that new document, take the 3 to 4 connection questions from that icebreaker list, paste them onto your document, take the 3 to 4 travel type questions from the icebreaker list, depending on, if it's a family vacation, a couple's anniversary, like whatever because again, when people are messaging us about travel consultations, they try to give us all the information right away, right? So you can see like, okay, they're like, oh, my husband and I want to go on a trip. It's a couple's getaway. You can add in 3 to 4 questions about the travel type from couples getaways. Okay. Then they're going to give you probably the destination. Then you're going to copy in those questions into a separate document for your client specific consultation. Does that make sense?
Yes, I guess my follow-up was, you have something in there for all inclusives, but what happens if they don't want all inclusive when they just want they just want to go somewhere, but they don't want all inclusive?
I mean, you can adjust it to whatever. Like if they don't want all inclusive, you can still use that one and just adjust it to whatever country they're wanting to go to. Um, but those are the main types of travel requests. So those were what I created.
Okay.
Any other questions? And I think too, this type of consultation, I've noticed for me at least, it helps me get through, you know, kind of weed out the people that are not serious to book. The way that I end it is I send a follow-up email as well. And I can give you guys kind of that template. Um, and it gives them the option of choosing to hire me or not. So I don't do any work unless they choose to hire me. Now, I do charge fees, but it tells them the option of like, this is what it is to move forward and take the next step. You got to pay my fee, right? If you don't want to pay a fee, then you tell them what that next step is, okay? And then it gives them, if you don't want to move forward, this is the next step for that, right? It gives them the opportunity to feel like they're more in control, as well as recapping all of the information that we just went over. And so what I will do is I will take the template for that email, and I'll put it in the qualify your clients, um, folder. So that way you guys can have that as well.
Awesome, thanks.
Of course.
I was just gonna ask, like, how has it been working as far as like clients that are just wanting quotes versus like how have
They
you
don't
been? You said what?
they don't move forward. So no time is wasted. And my consultation calendar is also set up a little bit differently, where I let them know in the description of that calendar that I charge a fee. So if they don't want to hire me, then they don't have to move forward with the consultation. But they know right away that I charge a fee in order to be hired. The consultation itself is complimentary. I also let them know that they need to be deposit ready within 3 to 5 days of the proposal being given. So what I can do is I can put my consultation link. I think I'll probably put it in the qualifier clients as well. And then you guys can see what that description says. I'm trying to think. I also remind them in like different emails and text messages, like, hey, this is what it is. I show them how to set it up. So if you guys are wanting to use Calendly, I can walk you through how to set that up. I can give you like my scripts for the description, you can just copy it, but I can give you my scripts for like the confirmation emails, the reminder emails, things like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because I tried this way of just like, because I'm still trying to get my footing, but like
Mhm.
I had multiple clients like that I've gave them multiple itineraries for, and then I feel like I just wasted my time.
Yeah, I also think in your specific situation, Chanel, you were a little too giving. And they were just like, they were to taking too, right? There was no kind of clear boundaries as to how you run your business. And I think this strategy with consultations will help you kind of set up those boundaries for not only your clients, but for yourself. So that way you are not wasting time or putting a bunch of work in for people who are not going to book with you either way, you know? I think that will eliminate a lot of what we were talking about, a lot of what you texted me about earlier too. Um,
Yes, got
but
it.
yeah,
Thank you.
of course. All righty, let me go ahead and stop recording. Meredith, please.